guys, it is almost the end of June, which means that it's time for a book haul. I went into this month thinking I'm not going to get any new books. I have plenty. Well, I don't know how many, probably close to 20, but in my defense, they are all used. So that's all I have to say for myself. So we're going to start with this stack of books here. I got all of these. There's five of them. Yes. I got all of these at Half Price Books. A couple weeks ago, I went there with my brother and we just kind of wandered around and looked at books for an hour or so. And so that was fun. So I ended up getting these 5. And guys, I love used books, especially used paperbacks. Was fantastic. Like, I got all 5 of these for I think about $20, which is wonderful. So yeah, I'm super excited about that. So the 5 books I got, we'll start with this one, The Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula K. Le Guin. This is a sci-fi book, I'm pretty sure. And I don't know much about this one, except that I do know that this is one of the more popular ones by her. And so I like what I have read by her. Wizard of Earthsea is like her like big fantasy one that she's really known for. I have not read that one. I have it on my bookshelf somewhere. Right here. I have that one, but I haven't read it yet. But it's there. I'll probably get to it at some point. But I wanted to go ahead and grab this. I actually had this one like on my Kindle. Because I think it's like on Kindle Unlimited or something, but then I saw it at the bookstore, so I went ahead and grabbed this one. So this is the first one. Next, I picked up 2 books by Jane Austen. I really like to collect my classics used. There are so many gorgeous editions of classic. The Penguin cloth-bound ones are really, really pretty, but I will never read them. The pretty editions are so gorgeous, but I won't read them. And so I try to just collect them in paperback when I can, when they're used. So I have 2. I have Sense and Sensibility, and then I have Love and Friendship and Other Early Works. So I have read Sense and Sensibility before. It's been quite a while, but I really like it. And usually when I get books, I don't like getting the movie cover. However, this movie holds a really special place in my heart. It was one of my favorites when I was like a teenager. I loved this movie so much, and so I thought it was really sweet that I found the movie cover for this one. It's such a good movie. So I am excited that I have found this. I want to reread this at some point. But yeah, also this one, like, it doesn't even feel like it's been read. It's like very crisp. There's no breaking on the spine. Like it's very crisp. It barely feels like it's ever been opened. So that's nice. So it's in really good condition, and it was like $3 at the store. So yeah, so that was really nice. Oh, I just realized this is actually the UK version because the only price on the back is written in pounds. So this is a UK publication. But yeah, it's in fantastic shape. It doesn't look red at all. Even the pages are pretty clearly old and a little bit yellowed. So I'm excited for this one. I really like this one, and so I'm happy to finally get my hands on a copy. Now that I have this one, I have pretty much all of Jane Austen's like main novels that she's known for. The only one that I'm missing right now, I think, is actually Pride and Prejudice, because I had bought just like a used paperback copy of Pride and Prejudice at one point, but then I realized it was actually an abridged copy, and I was like, no, this is not what I want. So I took it off my shelf, and I ended up using the pages for like a craft project or something. So I am still looking for a good quality used paperback of Pride and Prejudice, but yeah, I'm almost there. So I have my eye out for that one. The other Jane Austen that I got is Love and Friendship and Other Early Works. So this is, even though it's so tiny, this is a collection of like 4 different things. I also think it's really cute that friendship is misspelled, but apparently like that's how she titled it when she wrote the book, because Love and Friendship was one that she wrote when she was a teenager. And so she misspelled the title of it. And so they have kept that misspelling in here, which I think is really, really cute. They made a movie of Love and Friendship a little while ago, and it was hilarious. It was so funny. I really, really liked it, and so I thought it was kind of cool to see this. This one was in the clearance section for like $1 or $2, so I was happy to find this. And what I didn't realize was it looks like Love and Friendship is actually written as like, here, I'm trying to see if we can see it. It's actually written as like a series of letters. I think you can see that. So I thought that was interesting. That would be interesting to read through. Love and Friendship itself is only 28 pages. That's it. And then it moves on. So I did not realize it was so short. I'm kind of surprised they were able to make a whole movie out of it. So I kind of want to rewatch the movie first and then read this and then see how similar they are, because the movie was what I watched first when it came out a few years ago. And it's hilarious. It's one of the funniest ones of hers that I've ever seen. So yeah, I'm curious to see what the difference is there. And then it moves on to Leslie Castle, an unfinished novel in letters. So another one written in letters. And then this also includes, let me find the table of contents. This also includes a history of England. So it's like a little summary of like some of the kings of England that she wrote. And then it is a collection of letters, not like her actual letters to other people, but like fictional letters from like fictional characters that she has made up. So yeah, I'm really curious to go through this. It's so short. I think this would be a fun little read though. And, so yeah, I'm really happy that I found this. The other two that I picked up at half price books were some fantasy books. I picked up For the Wolf, which I thought was a Red Riding Hood retelling. Based on the cover and the title, you would think that, right? No, apparently not. Apparently, it is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, which I was not anticipating, but I always love those. So, okay. I kind of started it already. I'm like a few pages in, but then I found another book randomly that I did not expect to find. That'll be in a reading vlog coming up. That I was really excited to get to. So this one will be put on hold. This will probably end up in my August TBR since I've already started it, and it was pretty engaging and a pretty quick read. So I'll probably throw this in my August TBR to finish it up. But yeah, it seemed pretty good so far. So yeah, Beauty and the Beast retelling, and then this is the first book in a series. I know that there's at least one other book in this so far, at least. I don't know if there will be more than two. But yeah, so I went ahead and grabbed that. The last book that I got at Half Price Books is The Witch's Heart by Genevieve Gornichec. I don't know. I'm probably not saying that right at all. This is a Norse fantasy, or like a Norse retelling, I think. Yes, so I really don't know much about this. I don't know if it's purely fantasy or if it's like a traditional Norse mythology retelling. I'm not sure. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this. It's really pretty also. The cover is just absolutely gorgeous on this. So yeah, we'll see how I feel about this. So yeah, those are all the books that I got at Half Price Books. It was a pretty good haul. And like I said, all of this for about $20. I was happy with that. Last weekend, I went to a library book sale and ended up coming home with a huge bag full of books. So I'm super happy with that. I love library book sales. This library that's near me in particular, their sales, they don't price it by the book. It's just, hey, come grab some books and make a donation to the library. They don't have any sort of prices set. So that's wonderful. So you just come, look through their stuff, grab as much as you want, and then make a donation. And yeah, so I love sales like that. This library does it about once a year. So that was, it's always really fun. This year, I will say, I was not as impressed with it this year as I was last year. With that being said, I came home with a whole bag full of books, so do with that information what you will. But they did not have a lot of fiction there this year. They kind of have two big rooms that they have tables laid out, and then they just have books like stacked up on the tables. And they only had 2 tables of adult fiction. Most of the sale was nonfiction and then children's like picture books and stuff, which is great. It's just that's not really what I go for. So I felt like I had a little bit of a harder time this year, but I'm still happy with what I grabbed. And hey, it's cheap books. So I'm always happy, even if I don't find a whole lot, even though I ended up grabbing a bunch. Most of what I got is classics that I just didn't have on my shelf yet. I really like I said, to find classics cheap and used because they are absolutely everywhere. For me, I never feel like there's a need to go and spend full price on a classic unless there's a specific edition that I'm looking for. But again, I usually don't find myself actually reading the really pretty special editions, so I don't really go and purchase those. I am just grabbing all of these books out of the bag, so they are in no particular order. But the first book that I grabbed is The Hunger Games. I read this, oh gosh, 7-8 years ago, a long time ago. And I did not enjoy it when I read it. I think I was probably 19-ish when I read this, and I did not grow up reading a lot of young adult fiction when I was like the age that most people do. And so I read this not having read much young adult fiction before, and I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy the writing, but I want to try again because young adult still isn't my favorite genre, but it is one that I'm warming up to. So I grabbed this one because I want to try to reread it at some point. They only had the first one. They didn't have any of the others. But I figured I would go ahead and grab it. So yeah, I don't know when I'll get to this, but I do want to do a reread of this at some point. When I read these the first time, I actually only read the first two and disliked them so much. I just had someone else who had read the third one tell me what happened because I didn't want to go and read the whole thing. But I would actually like to go ahead and do a reread of this, especially since like the prequel movie is coming out soon, and then I had a friend who read the prequel book and said that it was pretty good. So yeah, so Hunger Games. I also grabbed Will Grayson by John Green and David Levithan. It almost is Leviathan, but it's not Levithan. I don't know. But yeah, also John Green is kind of hit or miss for me as far as his fiction goes. His nonfiction essay collection, The Anthropocene Reviewed, amazing, like literally so good. But his fiction has been kind of hit or miss. The only one that I really enjoyed is Turtles All the Way Down. I really liked that one. The other ones have not really been my cup of tea, but I figured that for as cheap as this one is, I would go ahead and grab it. This one takes place in Chicago, two teens with the same name. That's why, hence, Will Grayson. Running in two very different circles, suddenly find their lives going in new and unexpected directions, culminating in heroic turns of heart in the most epic musical ever to grace the high school stage. So that sounds kind of funny. But yeah, so I don't know if I'll like this. I hope I do. One thing I do like, though, is I really love the kind of holographic cover that it's got going on. Like, it's really kind of hard to tell, but you can kind of see in the lights and then like the silver of the title. It's like kind of holographic, so it's kind of cool. I also picked up a poetry collection. It's called Half Hours with the Best Poets. I like to collect poetry, so this is like some pretty classic poetry. I am going to take the dust jacket off of this one though, because I don't really love the dust jacket, but when you take the dust jacket off, it doesn't look too bad. It's this really pretty like orange color with the title here on the spine. So I'm gonna keep the dust jacket off of this one and then put it on my poetry shelf. But yeah, I just like this. It's really just a lot of really classic, mostly European poetry. Oh, I found a piece of paper inside. I love finding things like this in used books. Oh my gosh, what is it? Okay, interesting. I don't know if this is just someone copied down like part of a poem or something that they really liked, or if this is written by somebody, but this is what it says. It is not enough to feel the breeze contacting your skin. You have to be able to recognize that it is the wind. It is not enough to squint from the light in your eyes. You have to grasp that it is from the sun. You can go to college, but until you have any of this, what is it? I don't know what that means. Okay, I don't know where that cut off. I didn't realize that it stopped recording like 2 books ago, so now I have to redo those. But my phone ran out of space and I didn't realize that. So I had to go delete a bunch of stuff and then restart. So we're gonna restart now. Anyway, there were 2 books that I went through before I even realized that my phone had quit. But one of those is A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. I really, really like this one because of the illustrations. It's a middle grade novel, but the illustrations are really, really pretty. Like, they're really cool. I have not read this one, but I saw the movie when it came out a few years ago, and it was pretty good. It's like got these really weird and spooky vibes. So I'm excited about this one. One thing that I really like about Patrick Ness's books is how he uses visuals to help tell the story. He doesn't draw them himself, at least not in this one. The illustrator is Jim Kay, but the use of visuals to help support the storytelling, see, here's another one, is really, really good in his books that I have read so far. I have the Chaos Walking series in my shelf over here behind me. And I like started the first one and then got distracted, and I need to go back and like reread those. But I really liked it, and he uses visuals in that one too, because not to take too long, but in that one, the premise at the beginning of the book is it's a world where everybody can hear everybody else's thoughts, which is terrifying. And so he uses visuals, like really like crammed handwritten like letters and stuff like that, and words like all jumbled up on the page and everything to communicate like how crazy and crowded this is in your brain when this is something that you're dealing with. Let me show you real quick. I know it's right here at the beginning of the book. Oh gosh, let me find it. Here it is. Right here. You can see how he's using these visuals to help you like be more immersed into the story. And so I really like that. I really like that he does that. So yeah, I'm excited for this one. I don't know when I will get to it, but I will at some point. And so yeah, but it's really the illustrations and the visuals that really drew me to this one. It's kind of an interesting shape. It's very square, but that makes sense with all of the illustrations that are in it. Another book that I got is this vintage copy of Shirley by Charlotte Bronte. I have read this one before, but it has been several years. I do not remember anything about it except that I enjoyed it. So I got a copy of this, and I knew it was vintage when I grabbed it. I did not realize how vintage until literally a few seconds ago when I was trying to film this the first time. And again, I don't know how like publishing worked a long time ago when this was printed, but it says right here 1891. It says underneath the publication info, and that is the only date that I can find in this book. I cannot find any other date, so I don't know if that actually means that this was printed in 1891. So now I'm being very careful with it because that might mean that it's over 100 years old. Very excited to have this. All of the Bronte that I have right now is just in one big chunky collection of the Bronte sisters, like 5 or so of their like most well-known novels. So I was excited to find an individual version of this one, and it's vintage and pretty, but now I'm like nervous, and now I'm being very careful with it because that might be over 100 years old. I kind of grabbed this book just for laughs, but this is the Book of Poisonous Quotes, and it's just funny, snarky, sarcastic quotes throughout the book by different people or from different books and things like that. And so it's just kind of funny to flip through and read. These kind of things always make me laugh. I have one of like Shakespearean insults and stuff like that. I just kind of think they're funny. And so, yeah, this one's interesting because it has like different sections based on like where the quotes came from. So there's a literature section, a drama section, a film section, a music section, religion, science, and I don't know if it's like topical or if it's like where the quotes came from. I think it's topical. So that's kind of fun. But yeah, I kind of just picked this up just for laughs. It's fun to flip through every now and then. I'm having the biggest problems filming this video. My gimbal that my phone is on is absolutely freaking out. So I'm going to try to go quickly through the rest of these. But I also grabbed The Art of War. This is a really old one that everyone knows about. But I thought the cover on this one was pretty. And again, library book sale, very cheap. Went ahead and grabbed it. I also got a copy of The Inferno by Dante. This one is translated by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, which I thought was kind of interesting. So it's one of the reasons I grabbed this one. It's just like the Barnes & Noble edition of it. But yeah, again, barely looks read at all, but it's the actual like translation of the poem is only this much, and there's this much like commentary and notes on it. So I don't know if I'll ever pick this up, but I have it on my shelf now. I also grabbed this one, Reading Lolita in Tehran by Azar Nafisi. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but I'm actually in the middle of another book by her. I had gotten part of the way through it and then put it aside and didn't get back to it. This is a memoir. I don't know too much about this one. Her other one that I am reading right now is called Read Dangerously, and it's about how books reflect society and like how banned books work into all that and everything. And so that one's really, really good. And so since I'm enjoying that one so much, and then I saw this one at the book sale, I figured that I would go ahead and grab this one. I don't know too much about it, but I know it's a memoir. I know it's about books and literature and everything with growing up in Iran and all of that. And so I don't know too much, like I said, but I'm enjoying the other book by this author. So I'm excited to have this one. I also grabbed a copy of Shakespeare's The Tempest. I have a couple other Shakespeare's in the bag that I'll pull out. But yeah, my Shakespeare also is like in one big chunky book that has like all of his plays and poems in it. And so I've been slowly trying to get individual copies of things because they're just easier to read. So this one has definitely been used. It definitely looks like it was used for school. It is heavily underlined and annotated and highlighted and things like that. But I kind of like that sometimes, especially with classics. Like you can see here on this page, there's a bunch of markups and stuff like that. So I have this one. Let me grab the other Shakespeare's. We're almost done. But the other Shakespeare's that I grabbed are Twelfth Night and Macbeth. I don't know if I've ever read Twelfth Night. I can't remember if I've read this one. I love Macbeth. Macbeth is awesome. I don't know if I've read Twelfth Night though. So now I have both of these to add to the shelf. I do like that they match, but I'm really not picky with my classics on how they look. But yeah, these two do match. And then the last book that I have is this just mass market paperback copy of Game of Thrones. I have a really pretty special edition of Game of Thrones. I have not read any of the books. I've watched the show, I enjoy it, but I haven't read any of the books, and I would like to at some point. I don't know when that will happen. Be cool if he finished the series before I committed to it, but we'll see. But now I have this one, and because like I said, I don't ever read my like big pretty special edition ones. So I went ahead and just grabbed this one. They only had the first one there. But I will go ahead and put this one on my shelf. I'll start it at some point probably. And then, yeah, so now I have an easily readable version of Game of Thrones. That's it for this book haul. I have had so many problems with this. My phone and my gimbal have been freaking out the entire time. So I'm going to stop it here while I still have space and it's working. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. But thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.